After the streets of Newcastle came to life by the roar of the V8s, the circus now travels to Albert Park for round 2 of the Repco Supercars Championship for 2023. Welcome to the BEAUEREPAIRES Melbourne 400 weekend preview. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Supercars. Now of course, it's finally race week, it's finally the second round of the Supercars Championship, but it's also going to be a massive weekend full of epic racing action, well hopefully. Of course, not only do we have Supercars, we've got Formula 1, Formula 2, Formula 3, and some other support categories such as Porsche Carrera Cup. It's going to be epic. I cannot wait. But for this video, episode, pod, whatever you want to listen, whatever you want to call it, we're going to be previewing all of the supercars action that will be happening this weekend. So let's kick off things and discuss some recent news that have happened in the last few weeks. So let's start off with the biggest headline to occur since the season opener in Newcastle. On Wednesday last week, it was announced that Triple Eight's appeal regarding their disqualification from Race 1 in Newcastle has officially been dismissed by Supercars. The hearing went roughly for 3 hours, so now officially Cam Waters is still the Race 1 winner and Mustang is still the inaugural winner of the Gen 3 program. Obviously, they're disappointed by the decision, but, you know, basically, it is what it is. They'll move on and focus on this weekend's racing. Another big headline to come out is the recent announcement that GM have decided to retire the Camaro and that the 6th generation model will conclude at the end of 2024. Now, this wasn't a major shock as we all pretty much knew that this was going to happen. Of course, the same happened to Holden. It was bound to happen to Camaro. There was rumours and whatnot spreading around, but at least it's now properly confirmed. Despite all of this, though, Supercars are still determined to work with GM and Chevrolet Racing, and will continue to run the Camaros at least until the end of 2025. Shane van Gisbergen has announced on social media that he'll be returning to rallying this year. He'll be competing in the New Zealand Rally Championship. He'll be taking part in 4 rounds, driving an Audi AP4. Starting off his campaign at Rally Whangarei. I apologise. Whangarei. I think I nailed it. Probably didn't. Really sorry. Anywho. That will be in May, so stay tuned for that. I believe it's the 12th to the 14th of May. Of course, he took part in some rallying last year and did pretty well, so expect him to do pretty well in this one as well. Walkinshaw and Andretti United have announced that they'll be adding another driver to their academy. They will be contesting in this year's Toyota 86 series with team mechanic Matt Hiller, who will represent the squad in the series. And lastly, Andre Heimgartner and partner Gemma Boskovic have welcomed their first child, a baby girl named Summer, last week. So massive congratulations to them. Really happy for you guys. Alright, so now let's have a quick look at some track info. There's 14 turns. It's a 5.2 kilometre circuit. The first Grand Prix was held there in 1996, and of course Supercars have pretty much been a support category roughly since then. This weekend will contest of 4 13-lap sprint races, 1 for each day. And 5 bonus points will be awarded for the fastest lap because this is a sprint round. So every sprint round will provide drivers a chance to get extra points for setting the fastest lap in the races. And lastly, it was actually recently announced, I think last week, that pole position will move from the driver's left. It will be now onto the right. But not only that, pole position has been moved to start on the 4th position of the grid. So basically the first 3 F1 grid slots will be left vacant. The reason for this is basically just driver visibility. Because of Gen 3, the front windscreen is actually drastically quite small in comparison to previous cars. Let's say if they were where they originally were last year, pole position wouldn't be able to see the starting lights. So that's basically it. They're still going to be on the right-hand side. They're still going to be, despite being on the dirty side of the track, they will be directly heading for the inside line for the corner. So nothing like that has changed. It's just the driver's now been pushed back a bit. Quick look at the weather. It is going to potentially be a wet weekend with roughly 50 to 70% chance of rain. Roughly 1 to 2 mils, if anything. Sunday, there probably won't be any rain at all, but the weekend looks to be mostly cloudy, but meant to be sunny with cloud cover. So I wonder, who knows, it might be interesting. We might see the brand new wet weather tyre used for the first time. But also, in doing that, Gizzy might dominate. He's quite good in the wet, as we have seen before. So who knows what the weekend will bring. But in saying that, let's have a quick look at the schedule. So Thursday, of course, supercars are on track every day. On Thursday at 11:25, they go out for practice 1. At 1:15, supercars go out for practice 2. 2:45 will be qualifying for the first race. 3:10 qualifying will take place basically 10 minutes after the previous one. They'll be qualifying for race 4, which is race 2, technically. And then ending the day at 5:45, supercars will go out for their first race of the weekend with 19 laps of running. I did previously just say 4 13-lap sprint races. Forget what I just said about that. It's 4 sprint races. Ignore the 13-lap thing. Ignore that. Race 3 is going to be 19 laps. So please don't at me. Friday, supercars will only be going out once. At 2:55, they'll be going out for race 4, which is scheduled for 15 laps. Saturday, at 9:05, supercars go out for qualifying for race 5. 9:30, they'll then go out for qualifying for race 6. Similar to Thursday, ending the day at 5:30, supercars will be going out for their 5th race, which is scheduled for 13 laps. And then Sunday, which is Formula 1 race day, at 10:25, supercars will be going out for the final race of the weekend, which is scheduled for 13 laps. So a busy weekend ahead. I cannot wait. This weekend will actually probably be a good test to see if the parity has worked or not. This is a very aero-driven circuit. Nothing compared to Newcastle. Even though it is a street circuit, it's not as bumpy, it's not as tight, so much wider. So hopefully we see some more epic racing. I was disappointed with the first race in Newcastle. I hope we actually do see some on-track racing. We do have, with sprint races, we do have a chance for that, so fingers crossed. In saying that though, I believe we'll see the top 3 will probably be Gizzy, Mostert and Cam Waters. I won't be surprised if they're up there pretty much all weekend. Heimgartner, I hope he's in the top 10 again. He did really well in Newcastle. Also Premier High Racing, I'm really looking forward to see what they can do this weekend. They had an incredible weekend last time. Although, in saying that, they did have a few dramas. But in terms of pace and driver ability, they were exceptional all weekend. But although in saying that, I hope DJR, they had a shocking weekend in Newcastle. I hope they can bounce back and redeem themselves this weekend. Hopefully it was just a one-off. Hopefully it's not not a show of what the year's going to be. Personally, I don't think that's the case. I think, they just had a bad weekend and they'll bounce back. It's a whole new different track, very different in comparison to the bumpy streets of Newcastle. So hopefully we can see them doing well. Let me know who you think will do well this weekend in the socials, and if you're watching on YouTube, in the comments and whatnot. But next week, so stay tuned. Of course, we've got Formula 1 and Supercars this weekend. So stay tuned for the debrief for Supercars, as well as debrief for the Formula 1 Australian Grand Prix. Well, that's all from me for today. Curious to see how the weekend will go. I cannot wait. If you do want to check out more of my content, I am on Spotify. If you're listening on Spotify, welcome. And if you're on YouTube, welcome. I've also obviously got a YouTube channel, as I just said, where I basically post the exact same thing from Spotify onto YouTube. If you want to check out my Instagram, you can at Daniel Leckel 35. Facebook, I believe, is the same. Right, that's all from me. Have a good one, and I'll chat to you soon. Bye.